Yo, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We're back for another week of Just a Fan Podcast. What's up? What's up? All right, hey, we got a lot to cover. We got 3 players with contract extensions and a head coach with a contract extension. Also, since our last show, we got a schedule release, so we're gonna cover all that. Okay, let's get started. You already know who I am, Coach Williams, the NFL Encyclopedia. My caption says June 1st cuts are coming and roster battles. Okay? Because it's that time of the year for roster battles. And June 1st will be on a Sunday and June 2nd will be on Monday. Okay. By the way, we got something to tell y'all about next week and June 2nd. Okay. Well, we'll do that after the show. What's up, Titus?
What up, Titus?
That direction, Panel 316, the good guy with the black hat, his caption says, haters are going to hate.
Yeah.
And he will let y'all know that later. But first off, let's talk about a big extension that happened today in San Francisco. Inside backer Fred Warner got a new contract extension. He is now the highest paid inside backer in the NFL. I believe sitting at $21 million a year. Anybody with any common sense will realize that Fred Warner is the best inside backer in the NFL. Roquan Smith is number 2. He's actually number 2 in salary at $20 million a year. So, Fred Warner is definitely a sideline linebacker. He is also good at keying his reads and knowing how to stop the run game, and he can drop back in coverage with the best of them.
He was originally a defensive back before he switched to linebacker at BYU. A lot of people don't know that.
I didn't realize. I didn't know he played at BYU. I had no idea he was at BYU. Wow.
Frederico Warner. Yes.
All right. So, gentlemen, how y'all feel about Fred Warner being the highest paid inside backer in NFL history? $21 million a year.
He's currently the best inside linebacker in football, so it makes total sense to me.
Tristan he kind of jumped in before I could say anything. Yeah, what is the debate? Like, there's nothing to really discuss here. All we can talk about is the fallout from that. The Niners are starting to learn their lesson because they're realizing, hey, you know what? We need to jump on these contracts a whole hell of a lot earlier than what we have been doing, so we don't have to overpay anybody because the market moves. The market is fluid. And by doing this extension, they actually create some cap space along with the other extension that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. People don't understand how contracts work. By extending players that are already under contract on your team, you create cap space. You don't get rid of it. You don't lose it because the contract gets pushed down the road. Also, what a lot of people don't understand is they look at APY for contracts and don't understand that the contracts are not structured that way. Okay, you got a 3-year deal for $63 million. That does not mean you're going to get $21 million this year. It does not mean that. A lot of people, again, you got the casual fans and the Joe Blows that'll fly off the handle and talk about how this is going to mess up the cap. And actually, no, it won't, because the contracts are designed, especially if you have a smart CFO and capologist working for your particular franchise. The contracts are structured to where they accelerate as the years go on, But guess what else accelerates as the year goes on? What explodes as the year goes on? Brandon?
The actual cap space itself for each team.
So you're not hurting your cap by your contracts as they go down the line getting bigger. A lot of stuff is tied up in bonus money as well. So basically, if your contracts are structured correctly, you're not going to get if this guy gets signs for 21 million APY, that does not mean he's going to get paid 21 million this year, 21 million next year, and 21 million the year after that. That's not what that means. So it's a little financial it's a little financial schooling for some of y'all who don't understand that. So when teams extend good players, especially core pillar players on their team, like a Fred Warner, like a George Kittle, or someone like that, they actually create more cap space. And a team like San Francisco is probably going to roll that cap space over into next year, which means when the cap goes up, they get a little bit more cap space added to what they got, and then you throw in what rolled over from the next year. Next thing you know, you top 5 in cap space. As a matter of fact, I believe the 49ers are top 5 in cap space right now. And that's without calculating the next contract we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that is so true. And like I said, like Trishan said, and I definitely know Eric agrees with this. He's the best inside backer in the NFL right now.
There's
It
no
was,
debate.
huh?
I said there's no debating that.
No, not at all. All right. So, speaking of 49ers,
One last thing before we leave Fred Warner. When you can make all pro with a broken foot, you played all year on a broken foot and you made all pro at middle linebacker, there is no debate about who the best linebacker in the game right now is. And I'm done.
there you go. All right.
He played with a broken foot all season long.
Sticking with the same franchise, but getting a contract extension since our last show. Former Mr. Irrelevant 7th-round pick quarterback Brock Purdy also got himself a contract extension, and he is sitting at $53 million a year. He did not break the market. Dak is still the highest paid quarterback in the league at $60 million. I believe Brock Purdy definitely deserves that $53 million a year because of what he's done. But gentlemen, tell me your thoughts.
I think the contract was spot on. He's not the highest paid, but he's top 10 because he's not the best quarterback in the league, but he's top 10. And if anybody want to go head to head with me on that, I welcome all challenges because I'm gonna tell you right now, this fight you ain't gonna win. But a lot of people, tend to think that because I say these things because I'm a Niners fan, and my position on it is skewed because of my bias. So I'm gonna defer to Tristan, who's our quarterback whisperer, our quarterback guru. And this is how we gonna do it, Tristan. I'm gonna throw out all of the dumbass talking points they say about Brock Purdy, and you go ahead and count. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. He's just a system quarterback, and go.
Say it again.
He's just a system quarterback, and go.
You broke up.
Okay, so basically, he's saying that Brock Purdy people are saying that Brock Purdy is a system quarterback.
I'm talking about all of the BS talking points about Brock Purdy that are just trash, and you're here to disprove them and debunk them. And then I'll just put some ice on top of your cake. Pause.
Okay, so the first one was saying he was overpaid. I want to make sure.
No, he's a system quarterback.
System quarterback.
Oh yeah, so okay. I love this. I love this quote. System quarterbacks. I love this because there's only a few QBs in the history of football that are not system QBs. Okay, I call them the outlier QBs, and it's because of their ability. Just to name a few. Michael Vick, John Elway, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, as more recent. Um, Dan Marino, It's just a few. It's literally a few that are outliers. Everybody else benefits from the system. Now is a difference between someone that is in the system and then someone that mastered the system, i.e. Tom Brady, i.e. Joe Montana, when they went to their respective franchises and mastered the system to the point that no one could duplicate it. Even though Steve Young was close to trying to, but he still could not be Joe Montana. So when you talk about he's a system QB, okay, let's take a look at it. So when Kyle Shanahan first got the job, he drafted. I mean, he didn't draft. He grabbed Jimmy Garoppolo from the Patriots, right? Jimmy
Yep.
Garoppolo was supposed to be the guy to make his whole system run, right? We saw quickly that Jimmy Garoppolo is someone that benefited that because I like how Colin Cowherd was trying to talk down about Brock Purdy, saying that he's someone that more so benefits from the system. Jimmy Garoppolo is someone that benefited from the system because it showed his average ability to be a slightly above average. But when the rubber met the road, when they needed it, Jimmy couldn't deliver, right? Okay,
Correct.
so then here comes Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy shows himself, but they're like, "Oh, he's young. You got all these weapons. You got Brandon Ayuk. You got Debo Samuel. You got all these, all these tools and all this stuff around him." Okay, then what happened? They went and traded first round picks to jump up to what was it, number two, number three, to
Yeah,
get Trey Lance.
that's right.
Okay, so now you thought someone that was supposed to be better than Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy was who? When was he drafted, Brandon?
Mr. Relevant. That means he's drafted seventh round, but not just seventh round. It's not like
Uh
seventh
huh.
round and the first overall pick. He was seventh round, the exact final pick. The
The
final pick,
dead
which means that
last.
which means he was dead last. If he wasn't drafted by the 49ers, which means if another franchise would have been there, let's just say Dallas or Washington, he would have been a rookie free agent.
Hmm.
He was dead last. So a guy that was drafted number three overall surely is way better in Kyle Shanahan's great system than Mr. Irrelevant, correct?
Mr. Irrelevant.
Okay. So yet Brock Purdy has been to how many conference championships?
Two,
How many Super Bowls?
one.
And then arguably the conference championship that he lost, he only lost because
He got injured in the first quarter.
And
oh,
honestly, I'm not going to really give the credit of the loss to him because he only played like 4 snaps.
exactly.
He got hurt in
So
the first quarter.
so
Wait, I want to wait before you go any further on that too. He came back the next year, played that same team with that same coaching staff, and put 40 on. I want to
exactly.
bring that. Yeah, that's like when Roy. Remember when Roy Jones got disqualified for that fight, and then he came back, and fought the same guy and knocked him out in the first round.
Knocked him out the first round.
There you go.
So all that transpired, right? Now, let's go back to last season, which was some would say, oh, a down year for Brock Purdy, right?
Oh yeah, let's get into that because I got some numbers here.
I do too.
So so 30 so over 3,800 yards passing. That was
He was
10th.
he was under 150 yards from 4,000 yards.
Okay, so that was 10th. 20 touchdowns, a tied for 15th. 12 interceptions, which is tied for 99th, and a 67.9 rating, which was tied for 7th, right?
Oh, wait a minute. And was third in yards per attempt, only
Yep.
behind Lamar Jackson and Jared Goff.
Right. So who was his number one receiver last year?
Jawan Jennings, basically.
Okay, and then who was the starting running back?
Uh, Jordan Mason,
Who was his number two receiver?
a guy who got shot and didn't go to training camp, Ricky Pearsall,
All right, that was also a rookie.
and a rookie.
Okay, didn't his tight end have lingering injuries all year?
Yep. Now George Kittle's a phenom, though. But George Kittle did get over
But he
1,000.
but he was injured. He was
He
injured
played
though.
injured most of the season. Let's be
Okay.
honest, the whole team was
How,
hurt.
okay, so and then how was that offensive line?
Yeah.
Outside of Trent Williams.
Trent Williams didn't play the whole season either. He was hurt.
Okay, and oh, did correct me if I'm wrong. Did the 49ers have the benefit that the Eagles did? Did Christian McCaffrey play?
No.
Oh, so the guy that's a system QB. right? That
Mm-hmm.
according to Colin Cowherd,
Mm-hmm.
the he benefits more of the system
Mm-hmm. And
than
all his players around him, because he's nothing with all his players
he's
around him.
nothing without
If you
that.
let
That's
some people tell it,
this is what people in Colin Cowherd have said. This
yeah.
same guy still put up numbers that if you gave let me I didn't even highlight this part. What year is this for Brock Purdy?
He just finished his third season.
Oh, so he's not he ain't been in the league for 6 7 years.
Nope.
He's not a 10-year vet.
Nope.
So a guy that was Mr. Irrelevant coming out of his third year, which was a down year, which was be any young QB's solid year.
Let me go ahead and let me add this too. He didn't play all 17 games. He almost threw for 4,000 yards in 15 games.
Uh-huh. This same one that also been to 2 conference championships already.
But you also got to remember too, his first season, he didn't start the whole season.
Uh-huh.
They went through Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then he finished the season all the way to the NFC Championship game. And
Oh,
usually,
so you're saying
and
so
hold
you're
on,
saying
wait. Most quarterbacks who are 7th-round picks are not even ready to do what he did.
no, but that's
A
what I'm saying.
7th-round
So you're saying that this guy beat out a number 3 overall pick and a player that
was
was
drafted in round
regarded as the
2.
second coming? That was regarded as the second coming? That's
Jimmy
what a lot of people
Garoppolo
said
was
about
drafted.
him.
Jimmy Garoppolo was drafted in round 2 when he came out and was drafted
They
by
thought he
I
was
think
going to be the successor. The same guy that Bill Belichick hinged his future with the Patriots on and said that he didn't need Tom Brady because he had him. That guy? That's who Brock Purdy beat?
Mm-hmm.
Because
also
so they didn't hand him the job. He beat them to get the starting position.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I
Oh,
love you guys because if I was saying all of this, everybody be talking about I'm a home.
Also, as I'm looking at this, they were the second most injured offensive team last year, and there was only 57 total snaps all season with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle on the field together with Brock Purdy. 57 snaps.
That's it.
57.
so
And
the
there's
horses
65 snaps a game, so that's not even a full game. There's 65 snaps in the game, usually for off of 65, 70.
so the horses that he would normally have never even saw a down altogether.
At least not a whole game.
Not a whole game.
Here's me putting this all back in and wrapping this all up in a bow for Eric, so Eric can go. Here's the thing I say about this. What do you because it's a similar situation how I feel about with Shador Sanders. What do you want your quarterback to do? What is the job for your quarterback to do for your franchise to be successful? Can he process the information? Can he see it live as well as seeing it on the whiteboard? Make necessary adjustments and put the ball in the playmaker's hands. Isn't that the job of the quarterback? Not to run a 4-3, not to be 260 pounds, 6'6", not to throw a ball from the earth to the moon. I need you to know, can you process the information
Thank you.
from the whiteboard to the field?
Mm-hmm.
Can you understand pre-snap and post? And can you make the adjustments where need be and get the ball to your playmakers?
And I'm gonna tell you
If
this.
you can do that, hold on, because I just want to finish it out. If
Go
you
ahead.
can do that for my team, and I assemble a team of players around you that can beat their one-on-ones and beat their assignments, why wouldn't I reward you? If you're able to compete at the highest level for me of doing that, why would I not pay you if you're already in my building? Wouldn't I rather pay the person that is a proven commodity? In his third year, he's been to 2 conference championships and 1 Super Bowl. Why wouldn't I deal with someone that is a proven commodity and take a risk? Because it's a risk that Kyle Shanahan already took. It ain't like he ain't tried. So I've seen the chat. They're like, "Oh, we could draft the QB next year." And da 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 da. We did this already. Y'all are talking like Kyle Shanahan didn't try this already. If it wasn't for Brock Purdy,
I'm gonna go ahead and say it, the people that said that they eat crayons for breakfast.
if Brock Purdy did not pan out, Kyle Shanahan would not be the head coach today because that trade would look catastrophic.
Yes.
Purdy and John Lynch would be out of a job.
They would be out of a job. I don't
Mhm.
think so. So that's the part where I'm like, I don't think people really understand the gravity of how much Brock Purdy saved this man. Because if you're Mr. Irrelevant at the quarterback position, you're a camp arm. You ain't supposed to make the roster.
They
You ain't supposed to be
literally
on the team.
they literally told Brian Greasy, "Hey man, we're gonna let you use his last pick to pick as a camp arm." And
That's
he said,
it.
well, "I really like this kid out of Iowa State. I think
That's
he's
it.
special." And then he showed up to camp, and he's like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, holy
We
crap
got
was
we,
great.
we got something.
And yeah, and Shanahan was like, "I think our best quarterback might be our third quarterback." And
So here,
and the dominoes fell to where he got a chance to show himself. And when he showed improved.
and here's the thing. Here was the knock on Brock Purdy. Why he became Mr. Irrelevant. He was undersized.
Hmm. But you know
They
who else was
didn't.
undersized? You know who else was? Little
Drew
quarterback.
Brees.
Yeah, but no, I do even one better. So a little quarterback come out of Notre Dame in 1979.
Yep.
He was undersized. That's what they said
Yep.
about him.
They said he was too slinky. I remember
So
reading that.
he went he fell to just the third round.
Yeah, they said he was too slinky and too slow
Mm-hmm.
and didn't have an arm. This is what they said about Brock Purdy. They said somewhat athletic, but can't blow you away with his legs.
Mm-hmm.
Adequate arm, not strong arm. I watched, y'all know I like to watch these quarterbacks in college. Brock Purdy could play some football
Not to mention he was a starter. He started his first game in college as a freshman.
as a freshman.
So
Do you
he had
know
the
do you
experience.
know the weapons that he had at Iowa State?
Yeah, he didn't have a whole lot to work with.
Exactly. So
So
I'm just like, a
he's
guy
used to
that's
doing more with
experienced,
less.
a guy that's experienced that could do more with less, that took a program that was irrelevant and was potentially getting them into the college football playoff. That was someone you didn't want on your team. Now, all the teams passed on him multiple times. But Kyle Shanahan, you thank the football gods and you thank your lucky stars
Like Brian
that that
Greasy.
man was there. And Brian Greasy.
Yeah, that wasn't Shanahan's pick. That wasn't Lynch's pick. That was Brian Greasy.
Yeah. So thank them for being fortunate enough that he was there and that you had enough sense, even though you were trying to force another quarterback down everybody's throat. You had enough sense to realize, nah, Brock Purdy might actually be the guy. Because even there was a debate with him and Jimmy before Trey Lance thing even came about. Brock Purdy played well, but people were like, well, when Jimmy get healthy, if Brock Purdy was able to do this, Jimmy should be able to. What?
I saw Brock Purdy playing when he went in the middle of that Miami game. I was like, wait a minute, we got something here. Wait a minute, we got something. And then when he started the next week against Tom Brady and the top 10 ranked Tampa Bay defense and shredded them, I said, Garoppolo, who I already didn't like Jimmy Garoppolo to begin with. Let's go ahead and put that out there. But when I saw this boy do that, I said, Jimmy Garoppolo could never. Do you know Tom Brady has never lost to a rookie quarterback until that day?
That's right.
Until that day. And you say, well, the defense. No, Tampa Bay's defense was a top 10 defense that day. And he shredded them.
That's right.
Shredded them.
And normally rookie quarterbacks, it's not even just the defenses be good. The rookie QBs, honestly, they kind of go in awe of Tom Brady and forget that
Uh-huh.
they're playing in the National Football League as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when they crumble.
So
The
He does
moment was
not crumble.
here's the thing about Brock Purdy too. The moment has never been
It's
too
never
big
been
for
too
him.
big.
Like I said,
kind of like your boy from Washington. Same mentality.
Jaden Daniels, yeah.
Jay Daniels.
But at least Jaden Daniels. But at least Jaden Daniels was drafted in the first round. Brock Purdy was drafted in
Right.
round 7. And this is why I go back to saying most quarterbacks in 7th round, the game is too big for them anyway. They need a bunch of time to develop. And usually they just either a camp arm or just a backup quarterback for the rest of their career.
So this is what I've said the last couple of years, and I said it recently to you guys and on here. We have been too spoiled with these amazing athletes that just so happen to play quarterback
Mm-hmm.
that we've really gotten away from looking at really the core of what makes a QB great. Because even with even with all the athleticism, all the physical ability that these guys got, the ones that we deem great in the league that all share the same quality, it's what's between their ears
Mm-hmm.
and then what's in their guts. All of them operate that way.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of them are like that. So
Exactly.
it's like it's they walk in and they're like, oh no, I got this. Like no problem. They're all like that. It's why Jalen people feel how they want to feel about Jalen Hurts. Brandon, I know you got your reservations about Jalen Hurts. One thing I never questioned about him was what was in his guts and what was in his brain.
I give you that. No, no,
That's
no,
that
no, no,
that
no, no, no. I give
those are
you that.
two
I will
qual
give you that part.
but those are two things. So if you could find these guys like that and you put them in the right space, they're going to be great. You think look at a per example, when people talk about Doug Flutie, right? Doug Flutie had a long career.
He sure
Why?
did.
Because he had a lot of guts and gusto.
That
And he
he
was
had moxie,
smart.
man.
He was smart. He was a smart
He had a
player.
lot of moxie and he was smart. And
Man,
really, those are the ones you need. It'll give you a chance. Kirk Cousins the same way. Kirk Cousins ain't got the best ability in the world, but the reason why he's been able to fleece all these contracts is because
he,
he is smart and has guts.
he,
He's smart and
he
has
made a
guts.
deal with
It
the devil.
it will carry you. So if you can build the team around it to make it great, then you go for it. And with Brock Purdy's case, he's only in year three and has done more than most of these guys that have been in the league that were
Which
so
takes me to
heralded.
which takes me to my next point. The next talking point is, well, I understand that he's the guy for San Francisco and they need to pay him, but he shouldn't be paid with the top quarterbacks in the league. That's too much. They overpaying it. 53 is too much. Allow me. This is the list of the top 11 quarterback contracts in the
Call
league.
it out.
Okay,
Call it out.
Brock Purdy is seventh
Hmm.
overall. Okay, now
Hmm.
watch this. These are the guys that are above him, and I want you to consider their resumes. Dak Prescott's number one. Has Dak
You can
Prescott
stop
ever
right
seen
there.
a conference? Has he
I'm about
ever
to say you can
seen it?
stop right.
Ever seen a conference championship?
You can
no.
stop right there.
No. Okay. Next, Jordan Love. Damn, didn't Brock Purdy beat him in the playoffs?
Sure did.
He's 1-2 in the playoffs. Jordan Love is.
Yep.
Uh, Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow are tied
Hmm.
for third.
Now,
Okay,
at least Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl.
Joe Burrow is on par with Brock Purdy. Joe Burrow's been a MVP candidate. He's been to a Super Bowl, didn't quite win it. But that's I'll go with Joe Burrow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with Joe.
All right. Number 4, Josh Allen. Okay. I'll go ahead
I'm,
and give Josh
I'm
Allen the
good with
nod.
it.
I'll give
Hmm.
him the nod. Okay. Tua Tunga Vailoa,
Can't stay
Hmm.
healthy.
number 5. Can't
Can't stay
stay
healthy.
healthy. Jared Goff is like $100,000. His contract's $100,000 a year more than Brock Purdy's.
Hmm.
After that, you got Brock Purdy at 7. Then after that, you got Justin Herbert. People say he needs to be paid less than Justin Herbert.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So you
Although
people still talking about 45 million. People still talking about 40 million.
nah,
Just
No.
insulting numbers.
Way too
First
low.
of all,
Way
your
too
silly
low.
ass don't know the damn market. That's the first thing. The people that saying stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
Puka Nakua gonna bring his
Justin.
rookie tail on somebody's podcast, talking about, well, they pay him more than 50. Man, the ink's still wet on your rookie deal. Boy, shut up.
Yeah, Justin Herbert was one of the first ones to get paid in that first wave, so they're all like that. That's why people were upset about. Well, he's getting paid more than Lamar Jackson. Okay, but Lamar Jackson got paid prior to the jump. Y'all really need to be mad at the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's who y'all
Speaking of
need to be
which,
upset with.
Trent Baalke. But
Yeah, that's who you gotta be upset with.
speaking of Lamar Jackson, he's at number 9. Now people say, well, he shouldn't get paid more than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson got paid at a different time,
Yes,
so
so
the
did Justin
market is
Herbert.
different now. Okay,
Yeah,
and wait a minute. Ooh, has Lamar Jackson been to a Super Bowl?
nope.
Oh, okay. And then after that, you got Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is at $51 million at number 10. But
And see the logic that you're saying that people are saying, that means Jalen Hurts should be in the top five as far as pay, right? Because he just won a Super Bowl and was the MVP.
he just won a Super Bowl behind that defense. I'm gonna leave
Now,
that. I'm gonna leave that.
now here's something interesting because what I want to know is what does their contracts look like now? Because could they be looking for more money? Because you know how guarantees start to get low. Okay, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts' contract. He's not going to look
None of them will be looking for more money except for Justin Herbert. And the only way that would happen is if Justin Herbert finally has that breakout season. Because
Yes,
I don't blame his lack of success on
no, I
him.
don't either.
So I
he's had
want to
bad
see how he
coaching.
looks.
He said,
Yes.
Yeah, it
I
was
want to
definitely
see how it
coaching. Oh
looks
my
with
God, it
Harbaugh.
was coaching.
I want to
It
see how
was
it looks with Harbaugh. But if he can be the person who I think he can be, because all the tools are there, then yeah, probably not this season, but after next year, he'd probably be looking at for a new deal for sure.
and the last one on this list is Kyler Murray at $46 million. Now look here.
He definitely should have
Now,
been paid more than Kyler Murray.
Thank you. Look, get out of my face.
how many
Arizona
times
Cardinals
did
didn't
he
even
beat
know
Kyler
they
Murray?
didn't even know if they
you
wanted
had
to keep him.
you had mental midgets talking about Brock Purdy should have got paid 45, 40,
No.
something like that. Underneath a midget, speaking of midgets, Kyler Murray. Okay?
They didn't
Get
even
the hell
know.
out of here.
They didn't even know if they wanted to keep him as their quarterback.
Thank you. But yet and still you got people all over the Twitter sphere and all over the internet, and then you got some people who getting paid hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to sit on TV and say something crazy like that. That's why you should watch Just a Fan podcast, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't get paid for this. We just
Listen, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to when the season starts. If the 49ers to remain healthy and Brock Purdy's healthy, like, he's gonna make a lot of people eat those words because
He's
if he
been
show you
doing it. That's
if
the
he's shown you
thing.
nothing at all, he's as consistent as there is at the quarterback position. From the time he
Yes.
got the starting job, he has been consistent for what they need him to do. He maybe one, I'm talking about out of the 3 seasons, he maybe had 1 or 2 games where you're like, oof, I don't know about that, Purdy. Literally, maybe
I'm gonna
one
tell
or
you right
two.
now, the Vikings are his kryptonite.
Yeah,
The Vikings are his kryptonite. I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie. He can run roughshod through the rest of the NFC North, but when he come across the Vikings, it's like, oh my God, I don't know what it is. No, I know what it is. It's Flores' scheme, but
Yeah.
but
But
the
again, a
point,
guy, he's coming up his 3rd year though. I mean, come
yeah,
on,
he's gonna get better. He's gonna get better. And
he's going to
the
get better.
thing is like if you're a Brock Purdy detractor, hater, whatever, stop. Just stop it. Okay, you sound stupid. Okay, because if somebody can sit down like we just did and put all these facts in your face, put all of these numbers in your face, and show you this, and you still up here talking about, well, I don't know, just go ahead and say you a hater. Okay, you a hater because there's nothing that's there to
But
say
again, but
that Brock
even
Purdy is not a top 10 quarterback in his league.
but even with all that, tape don't lie, man. We've seen other quarterbacks in this system.
Man, I can put a link up right now
We've seen it. And
for a YouTube clip.
the only quarterbacks that have excelled in this kind of system outside of Brock Purdy was Matt Ryan, who won the MVP that year.
Yeah.
So, hey, I mean,
And I'm gonna do you one better. Matt Ryan didn't lose a Super Bowl to New England.
no,
Shanahan did.
yeah.
And
Shanahan
just
choked
like
it.
Brock Purdy didn't lose that Super Bowl to the Chiefs.
Shanahan lost that.
Shanahan lost it, and then with Drake Greenlaw's injury.
Mhm.
Because guess what? How many points did Kansas City have in the first half before Drake Greenlaw got hurt? Y'all remember?
6.
6. They held Pat Mahomes in that offense to 6 points in the first half of that game. and Dre Greenlaw went down, and everything changed.
Hmm.
Did Brock Purdy turn the ball over in that game?
Not that I can
No.
No,
remember.
Did Brock
no,
Purdy put them in position to score the
Yes.
go ahead touchdown?
yes. And Kyle
Yes.
Shanahan made a bad play call.
He made a bad play call, but before that, he could have thrown the game winning touchdown if the right guard was worth a damn.
Was blocking. Hmm.
Because Chris Jones came through there and forced Purdy to throw it away.
Yep.
But
And
guess what?
who have we made that excuse for
Joe
before?
Burrow. Joe Burrow.
Hmm.
Because if Joe Burrow had half a second longer, Jalen Ramsey
Jamar
was toast.
Jamar Chase would still be running.
He'd still be running. He hit his head on the goalpost, and we wouldn't be talking about the Rams. Oh, the Rams
Really
won.
wouldn't.
We wouldn't be having that conversation.
Aaron Donald will still be playing because he'd be still trying to get a Super Bowl.
Yep. So I mean, the Purdy discussion, y'all can continue to have it. When I say y'all, I'm talking those people that continue to hate on this man. Y'all can have it somewhere, and y'all can get in y'all little echo chambers with people that don't know football and talk about how he's overpaid and talk about how he's not a good quarterback, even though he's beaten some of the best. And he's done it against some of the better defenses in this league.
Because I'll tell you right now, I love my team. Y'all know I do. Y'all know I go hard for the Commanders. But I'll tell you right now, if the 49ers were healthy this year, the Commanders wouldn't have been in that NFC Championship game. That would have been the Eagles and the 49ers all over again.
And what was that stat again, Brandon? It was the second most injured team.
Second most
Yeah.
injured offensive team in the league.
Yeah.
And they only had like 54, 58 snaps.
And so you talking about second most offensive. The entire defense was decimated. So when the stat I have is they were the most injured team overall, top to bottom.
Right, now I get it.
Yeah. So, hey man, but not speculating or going forward, anything like that, man. It was a good deal for both parties. The 49ers did not break the bank and overpay. Brock Purdy still got a very lucrative deal and got a no trade clause in his deal.
Well, right now there's no reason to trade him.
But that's my point. But there's a no trade clause. So he has control of his future. And I think his agent did a great job. I think the team did a great job. I think all parties
all parties won in this.
There's
all
no
parties won.
There's no he fleeced them or they fleeced him, and oh my God.
Because I had also said I had also said that it would have been bad if
Brock Purdy
would no, not that, but if Brock Purdy got greedy. Because I'd be like, okay, Brock Purdy, now you were Mr. Irrelevant, which means your salary, okay, was low. You
make
don't
$5 million. That's it.
like let's not get hasty. Okay. And so I had said 53. I said 53 was the perfect number, and I'm glad that I was right on the mark.
And I said the floor was 50, and I said the ceiling was 55.
Was 55. Yep.
That's what I said. And I said it's gonna be somewhere up in there. And if it's 55, it's gonna be a good deal. If it's 51, okay, yeah. But right at 53, that's that sweet spot.
That sweet spot.
Yeah, and it's a good deal because he's still one of the highest, and there are incentives in his contract that he can make more money.
He can make more money.
Yeah.
The contract is well made. So I mean it works for everybody. The 49ers could still build the roster out because they're you could see that they're trying to get younger and trying to filter it out, and then you let Brock Purdy grow. Guys, his third season. Third season. You gotta think he's gonna get better.
No, listen, some people tell it he's overrated.
Listen, I'm gonna put this caveat out here because I used to always say it. I don't like the Cowboys, but I thoroughly believed if Jerry Jones did a better job with that roster during Tony Romo era, Tony Romo would have had a better career as far as playoff success. I always felt like Tony Romo was better This is me. I always felt that Tony Romo was a more talented player than Troy Aikman. Not
No,
to
no,
say
no, no.
Troy
I
Aikman
agree.
wasn't good.
I agree.
I just feel like
Yeah,
if I'm looking at it from talent, just pure talent, I always felt Tony Romo was a better talent. You can't help that Troy Aikman had playmaker, had Emmett, Doug Johnson, the Great Wall of
Doug
Dallas,
Johnson, Moose
that the
Johnson, Joe
Moose
Johnson.
Johnson, Daryl Johnson. That's thank you, Moose Johnson, the Great Wall of Dallas, that defense. I, he just had a lot of things working his way.
And a head coach.
And Jimmy Johnson, it took a long time for Jerry to realize, ooh, let me put these necessary pieces around Tony. And by the time he finally got it right, Tony's body was already shattered.
I broke my back,
So,
spinal.
so exactly. So my thing is with, and the reason, so they're like, well, why are you bringing up Tony Romo? Because I think Brock Purdy got a little Romo in him without the mistakes. Just his a way to escape when necessary, to make the certain throws in certain spots when necessary. The only difference between him and Romo is that he's not reckless with the ball.
Yeah, he doesn't get a game.
That was always Romo's. It wasn't that Romo couldn't play. He was reckless with the ball. You can count on him to do something that he shouldn't have done with that football because he was trying to make it happen.
Yeah, he Purdy 9 times out of 10 will not give the game away. If the team loses, it's not because he did something crazy.
So if
It-
I'm a
it-
responsible head coach and GM, and I see I have a quarterback that's basically a quintessential point guard out there, why wouldn't I assemble my roster around that player?
And you're supposed to put players around quarterbacks anyway to try to
That's the
What you're
quarterback
empower
supposed to
you
do.
need.
be successful. You need to give them playmakers, protection for passing, and you need to give them a play caller.
That's what you're supposed to do. When you realize you found a guy, okay, we found a guy.
That's it.
Let's
You know
put
how
pieces
hard
around
it
him.
is to find a franchise quarterback in nowadays?
Man.
Because
And
like
that's why
you got Seattle going with
Sam
uh,
Donald.
Aaron Donald, and then you bring in Jalen
Sam, Sam,
Milrow, who's
Sam, Sam.
basically Sam Darnold. You got Sam Darnold, and then you bringing in Jalen Milrow, who's basically a running back. Uh,
exactly.
and that's what we doing in Seattle. Really?
Oh,
That's what we gonna do?
look at what the Saints are doing. Look at what the Steelers are doing.
Oh my God, it's
The
hard to
Steelers,
find
the Steelers still have Mason Rudolph as a starting quarterback.
dear God.
And the Saints already put out there they're not adding a veteran quarterback to their roster. So
Eesh.
this is where you're at. So
Well, they
now
should,
so this
honestly,
is hard to do. So
yeah,
you
you
49er
should tank
faithful
anyway.
that we're
We just
talking about we shouldn't pay Brock Purdy. Are you insane?
Yeah, that's again. These are same people that when they thirsty, they lick the window. That no, just I don't even pay them no attention. I don't even engage in conversation with those type of people anymore. Because, but what's bad about it is it's being put out in the atmosphere by people who are like mainstream media that don't look at any film. They don't talk. They don't do any studying. They don't even look up. We are three guys that have laptops and cell phones, and we do our research that way. And we
Yeah.
still know more than some of these guys is getting paid millions of dollars on ESPN and Fox Sports. I swear to
Like I
God, if every single time I turn on the facility, Shady McCoy got a bad take about something. It's like,
I
why
said
are you on TV?
I looked at people were talking about with the Commanders because they're like, well, I thought the Commanders would have been a lot more aggressive and got some people. Listen,
Are you nuts?
look who the GM is.
Yeah,
He came from structures of Denver when Denver was in its heyday with the in the Peyton era with the Patriots and then the 49ers that all have a philosophy of building the team through the draft so
yep,
that your team in long term is going to be great. So what did they do? They re-signed key veterans. Okay, now let me go get a premier left tackle since the Houston Texans want to give him up. All right, boom, let me get that underway. Let me go ahead and draft another tackle so I can have and groom him to grow with Jaden Daniels on my line. Cool, because I know Cosmi's going to be back at some point, but I still need to facilitate that right side of the ball. Cool. Let me get a playmaker in Debo Samuel that I can have maybe my exit. guy other than Ertz. So when I need him to bail out, I could put the ball in his hands and he can make some magic happen. Okay, let me secure Scary Terry long term, and then let me draft everything else up. That's what you do.
I'm gonna
That's how you
borrow.
build the roster.
I'm gonna borrow basically an ideal that came across. I follow Dave Lombardi really well. He's a Niners beat writer, but he said in order to build a really good team, you have certain core pillars of your team, kind of like the framework of a house or a building that you build. You're where your steel beams are, and those are the ones that you reinforce and make sure that they solid, and then you build in around that with new lumber, new sheetrock, all that stuff. That new lumber and new sheetrock, that should draft. Okay, your core pillars typically gonna be your quarterback, probably your middle linebacker, probably a really good defensive lineman, probably a really good offensive lineman. Those are your core pillars. Washington's doing they find that same trajectory. I know we kind of got off on a tangent here, but that's the plan, and that's the way to go. Like San Francisco, people are sitting up here talking about, well, San Francisco lost a lot of talent, and it's like, no, they didn't. There was only every guy that left and walked out that building in free agency was a calculated loss, except one, and that was Dre Greenlaw. That was the only loss that wasn't calculated. Everybody else, we were prepared to lose them. We were prepared to let them walk because of injury or age. So it was like, okay, we finna get younger. It's a reset. But the core pillars are there. Who are your core pillars? Nick Bosa, Trent Williams, Brock Purdy, Fred Warner, George Kittle. 3 of those guys just got deals. You supplement with free agency, you build through the draft. It's just that simple. The successful teams do that. I can't stand the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm going to tell you what. They built the majority of that team through the draft. That team that won that Super Bowl, they built that through the draft. They didn't go out and buy people. Those are rentals. You want something solid foundation. So that's why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. That defense, everybody that made a play in that Super Bowl and had Pat Mahomes running for his life for throwing picks was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right.
Every single big play you saw made was a draftee.
And that's why they had a hard time trading in this draft, because don't nobody want to trade with
Like,
you.
no, we're not going to move with you. We see what you're doing. Like James Bond would say, I can't trust what you say because I see what you do. You know. So yeah, but that's
speaking of the Eagles, let's
Okay.
segue to them. Their new head coach. Their head coach Nick Sirianni got a new contract extension today as well. I don't know the details of that contract extension, but he does have a contract extension, and he deserves it. He been to Super Bowl twice in 3 years, winning the one this past season. He has been very successful early in his first few years in the league as a head coach. Gentlemen, what do you think about Nick Sirianni and getting that contract extension in Philadelphia?
Personally, I don't like Nick Sirianni, but
I don't either.
He deserves it.
He does deserve it.
He does deserve it. I really don't like him personally with his personality, but he deserves it. When you just
But he fits
take all
Philly.
of the feelings out of it and you look at what he's accomplished, you can't deny it.
But he's Philly's coach. It's how I feel about Philly and the Eagles. So if he fits right in, he fits right in with their personality. But like you said, the results don't lie. I mean, go to 2 Super Bowls, you win one. You performed pretty well in the last one, because remember, he's an offensive guy, he's not a defensive guy. So he performed pretty well in the last one as a coach. So I mean,
well, he has a great defensive coordinator to help him out with that being Big Fangio.
That dog Fangio something special.
and then and then Roseman just literally can probably be the exec of the year almost every year at this point.
Yeah, they make some good moves. Although I still don't understand that trade up for Jihad Campbell. He'd have been right there in their lap. You traded up one spot.
Yeah.
That one right there.
Unless they heard, the only way you do that is if you heard somebody was going to take him.
Right, and that's the only information I'm still waiting on. And maybe we won't get that until during the season, but I'm just like, man,
they had to have heard that somebody
they had to.
was going to trade with Kansas
Kansas
City.
City, one spot.
Yeah, and they had to jump up, and it's like, no, Kansas City, we're gonna give you a fifth. But I mean, what was the other team offering that the fifth beat it? A pick at the bottom of the fifth round? Like what was the other team offering? You know, like we're gonna give you a sixth to move up into the bottom of the first round. You know,
But you know what?
there's some things that don't add up.
But you know what though? Another thing too, even though it's only a fifth, because it's only one spot loss, because you only move one spot down for Kansas City. Maybe they still wanted to keep that first round pick, and maybe they had their eyes on who they end up getting, because they probably said, "Hey, if we don't have this first round pick, we're going to try to fight back and get to the top of the second round and get Josh Simmons, who they end up drafting anyway."
Right.
So only losing one spot doesn't kill them.
Yeah, but the thing is like they call. I know, and we getting off topic here, but the Eagles called the Chiefs and said, "Hey, we want to get in that 31st spot." Okay, because we heard that Who Shot John over here is basically wanting to get in that spot to grab our guy. We gonna give you a fifth, and Kansas City said, "Okay." My question is, that fifth was enough to get them to move, and I get what you're saying about that one spot, but I don't know what, because if I'm in the Kansas City spot, there's a team that's offering me a haul, and it might be a bunch of day 3 picks. I'm gonna take that over that 1/5. That's at the bottom of the fifth because the Eagles are drafting at the bottom of each round. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. But let's keep going because the Derrick Henry, man, golly.
Got a contract extension at 31 years old, 2 years, $30 million, $15 million APY.
He is defying time. Okay, what 31-year-old running back gonna get a $15 million contract? You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it. Listen,
That's
especially
amazing.
today. Especially
and more power to him.
Because listen, ain't too many 31-year-old running backs out there doing it like him.
This is also true. He's a phenom.
Yeah, he is. Because I know he was easily over 1,600 yards this past season. I feel like it might have been 18. But Derrick Henry has really redefined the odds as a running back on the wrong side of 30. But I think a lot of that is him taking care of his body too.
A correction, 1,900.
Okay, I said I thought it was closer to 1,900.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. But Henry spends money to keep himself in shape. He spends $250,000 every year to keep himself in shape. Nutrition, what to eat, when to eat, and all that stuff. And his workouts are intense, but that is a running back who paired up with Lamar Jackson, man. That's two guys that's just very dangerous in the backfield, man. Very dangerous in the backfield. Lamar Jackson can run anytime he wants to, throw the football, and he's gotten better at throwing the football ever since Todd Monken became the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, their offense is a little bit more balanced now. Greg Roman was 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and then Trunkett on third. So yeah, that it's just, we bringing up this extension not because it's just Derrick Henry. It's the fact that it's a 31-year-old running back, and we know how they have devalued running backs in the league over the years. Running back is one of the lowest paid positions, skill positions anyway, in the NFL.
Yes.
And that's because, I'm going to say my saying, running backs come a dime a dozen, and the NFL got $1. So, for someone to get that type of extension at the age that he's at, and we all know what Derrick, he's second in rushing, he's amazing. But even at that age, because we watch great running backs when they get into third, because the number 30 for a running back is taboo. It's not so bad. It's not so bad for D linemen. It's not so bad for O linemen. It's not so bad for tight ends. Maybe even sometimes linebackers. But when you start talking about 30 for a running back, that is like, ooh.
Sometimes 27, 28, depending on the running back.
Yes, depending on who the running back is and what his history of injuries have been. So
well, not just injuries, just the volume of carries.
Yeah. I mean, and Derek has had a high volume of carries.
He really has. He really has.
Throwing defensive backs into the first row of the stands and everything. So, but yeah, it's remarkable, and more power to him, and congratulations to him. Congratulations to the Ravens for believing him, and I still believe these next 2 seasons, he about to get over 1,000 yards at least in these 2 seasons. Now, what I would do is I would kind of take something off his plate if I'm the Ravens. I go ahead, as great a shape as he in, as punishing as of a runner that he is, I'm like, I got to get some other running backs into the rotation.
Yeah, and my question is like, who's the backups right now? Because
get them involved.
Yeah, start getting them involved. As a matter of fact, I would even draft a running back to I'm not saying replace him now, but we need to start getting you going. Okay, Justice Hill's still there, so you can give Justice Hill some carries. But I would still draft one in 2026 and say, look, let's start getting you ready, because you can draft a running back in, let's say, round 4 or 5 for Baltimore, you go 6 or 7, and say, look, we need you to make sure that you're ready, because he's only going to be here for a couple more years, and you need to be ready by the time he's retired.
Yeah, and ain't no telling when Derrick Henry gonna stop, because I'm gonna put it to you like this: if he still maintains at least 1,000 yards, no, I'm gonna say 12. He can maintain at least 1,200 yards a season these next 2 seasons. Hey man, there's still gonna be some teams like, hey, we ain't gonna pay you a whole lot, but you come on and get in our rotation. You may not be the bell cow no more, but we definitely want you in our rotation.
I was looking at some numbers recently, all-time numbers, and Henry is ranked 19th in rushing yards. Okay, now he needs 16 yards to pass Steven Jackson to move up to 18. Okay, to me that's easily doable. Fred Taylor is at 11,695. I think he'll pass him this season as well. He'll probably pass Thurman Thomas at 12,074 this season.
Willow Ridge graduate.
And probably even Franco Harris, and maybe even Marcus Allen. If he plays 2 more seasons, I think he could easily get to maybe top 10 in rushing yards of all time. Okay. But if you look at his touchdowns, okay, give me a second. If you look at his touchdowns, where is it? Right here. Now, rushing touchdowns is a different ball game. He is already tied in 6th place for rushing touchdowns, with Jim Brown at 106. Walter Payton is ahead of both of them at 110. Adrian Peterson's at 120. Marcus Allen's at 123. So if he plays 2 more seasons, he'll definitely be in the top 5, even in the top 4, and he'll be pushing Marcus Allen. Derrick Henry, I might be saying, is a Hall of Famer.
Oh no! Before you went through all of that, if you made the comment, "Hey, is Derrick Henry a Hall of Famer?" Yes. Like, he just needs the ring. That's gonna be the icing on his cake.
Yeah, well.
If he can get him a ring. But yeah, let's move on. Speaking of playing games, the NFL released its schedule on this past Wednesday. And it's kind of interesting how the NFL does things, because some teams who really need help are not getting it with their strength of schedule. Because going from toughest, the teams who have the 5 toughest schedules going into the 2025 season going from toughest to least to fifth least, from toughest to fifth toughest. The New York Giants have the toughest schedule. I'm like, Brian Daboll, they just got it out for him, man. It's like, I, I don't think
Yeah,
they're going to do well with that schedule
no, they're not. For you to have the toughest schedule,
and already be a bad team.
you're a bad team. You still very unsettled at quarterback.
Very unsettled.
After transition from Daniel Jones at quarterback, because you got Russell Wilson, who's an old head at quarterback. Jameis Winston is not that much younger. And to me, Jameis Winston at this point of his career is more of a TikTok guy than a quarterback. Sorry. Not sorry. Um, Whatever. And then you got what? Jackson Dart, so who's a rookie. You got to see what he can do.
Let me see his snap count.
So they completely unsettled quarterback. I forgot who they have a running back. When Malik Neighbors is at receiver, damn near by himself because, I know they gave Darius Slayton a contract extension, but no one's checking for Darius Slayton at receiver. So the offense is still shaky. Defensively, they're solid.
You got good edge rushes.
They got good edge rushers, great nose tackle, very good, solid inside backer. But,
His schedule is rough.
Yeah. So to me, and being in that division, and you're the bottom of the division, yeah, I can't see a way how the Giants even end up above 500, and Dayball's probably out after the season, looking for a new head coach.
All right, so next hardest schedule, I'm going to read these next four toughest schedules. Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, Dallas.
Chicago, listen, everything is new in Chicago. New offense, new defense systems. Got to learn it. This is a great time to find out what you have and how you need to attack free agency in 2026, the offseason 2026. So I'm gonna give Chicago a breather, even though I feel like they gotten better, but with this tough schedule, it's nothing guaranteed.
And the thing is like they're gonna start slow because it's gonna take a minute for that offense to gel.
Yeah.
Now the defense can bail them out of some games,
right?
But they're gonna see some tough. I mean, just within their division is tough enough.
Yeah.
But then you have Detroit that has all that mass upheaval that's going on because most of that staff has gone elsewhere. You just got Campbell left, and he's got an all new staff under him. What kind of turnover is that going to be?
Yeah, because
with these new coordinators and new assistant coaches and so forth.
Yeah, because you lost 7 coaches, 2 coordinators, both on both sides of the ball. Yep. And like you said, 5 other position coaches, including defensive line. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to replace.
The talent is still in the building, but it's going to really come down to coaching.
Yeah, it really is.
And then you look at Philadelphia, they deserve to have one of the toughest schedules. You the Super Bowl champs, you should have the toughest schedule in football, if you ask me.
Here's the thing about Philadelphia. They went 14-3. Now, I did some research today, okay? Because certain people were talking about how good of a passer Jalen Hurts was. And yes, I said Jalen Hurts deserved credit for winning Super Bowl and stuff and performing the way he did. However,
let's pump the brakes on the dude. He's this great passer. Let's
really pump the brakes because when I looked at his game logs and his performance against certain teams, I was like, no. That's him using his legs and Saquon Barkley running the football. Okay, I still and I don't care if I'm still the only person that's by myself on this. Jalen Hurts to me is way more of a running back than he is a quarterback.
I won't go as far as that.
I know you won't, but like I said, I will stand on the mountaintop by myself, and I will continue to say that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go with you all the way on that. I don't think he's as great a passer as people say he is, and I'm kind of partial to Jalen Hurts because he's from Houston, Texas, and a lot of people don't know that went to Channelview High, but I don't think he's as great as people play him up to be. I won't say he's a running back that plays quarterback. Jalen Milroe is a running back that plays quarterback. Okay, that's a running back that plays quarterback to me.
He might be an H back.
Right? Because of his size, but he does what he needs to do. But they did the right thing in Philadelphia by giving him this awesome defense to get the ball back for him.
Yes.
And then he has these great weapons around him. Oh, that sounds familiar, don't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I don't. But I'm sorry to cut you off. The point I was making was I just don't see Philadelphia going 14-3 this year like they did last season.
No, not with this schedule. And even though they had a good draft, this schedule's a lot tougher.
Yeah.
And then of course, you have Dallas. With that
Dallas.
Schedule. And right now, the over-under on Dallas is 9 wins.
It's 9?
9.
I thought it was at 7.5.
I thought it was 9.
Because the last thing I saw over the weekend, unless you saw it more recently than me, I saw 7.5. And I was like, yo, I was about to put a bet on that. Like, usually I don't bet money, but I was going to put something on that. No lie. I think
and we'll go, folks watching at home, we're going to get more into depth with these teams and how we think they're going to finish later on when we go with our division by division, team by team breakdown. But I think Dallas can win 9 or 10 games.
I think so too.
Even in that division, because somebody going to do something silly. There's a lot of parity in the East. But we haven't covered all 32 teams because we're getting to run a little long, but we'll talk about the 5 easiest schedules according to the NFL. Going from the easiest to the 5th easiest, we have the San Francisco 49ers with the easiest schedule.
Wow.
Yes. And I can see that because we have been getting screwed for the last 2 or 3 years with the hardest schedule, with the most traveling, with the least amount of rest time. Over the last 3 years, just about. So we have the easiest schedule.
Wow.
And the over/under right now is 10.5. And I'm thinking about 11 or 12.
Yeah, 49. Yeah, if 49ers had the easiest schedule, as long as they're healthy, man, you're talking about a team that's gonna be right back in the thick of things, like they were supposed to be last year, but that was due to injuries.
Gonna start slow. Why? Because Robert Saleh's back in the building and implement his defense is
all over again.
Gonna take a minute, and they're looking to start about 5 rookies on defense.
Including Mikael Williams, the first-round pick from Georgia.
Well, potentially 3 of the 4 down linemen, defense are going to be rookies. Mm-hmm. Then you're looking at potentially a rookie starting at off the ball linebacker along with Fred Warner. Then you also are looking at potentially a rookie starting at in the slot with Upton Stout. You might even see a rookie starting at safety, depending on the health of Malik Mustafa. So you're looking at about 5, maybe 6 rookies starting. So they're going to start slow.
Yeah, so it's gonna be some bumps in the road.
If they stay healthy, I'm looking at 12 wins. The New Orleans Saints have the 2nd easiest schedule.
Yeah, but that's not gonna make a difference to me because you don't have a quarterback.
And also you need to tank. If you really want to rebuild your team, go ahead and tank and try to get you a quarterback. And then pick up picks before the trade deadline, New Orleans. You've heard me say this before. I don't think there's a sensible New Orleans fan that's listening to me right now that's disagreeing with me. Go ahead and see what you can get for Tyrann Mathieu. See what you can get for Alvin Kamara. See what you can get
across Chris Olave.
Yes, see what you can get for those guys and stockpile picks and go ahead and tank and then fall back so you can spring forward. That's what you're gonna have to do. The next team. New England Patriots have a 3rd easiest schedule.
Still doesn't matter because they still don't have enough. I mean, you added Stephon Diggs, but what else did you really add?
Yeah, I still think that's Buffalo's division, but spoiler alert, we're gonna talk about it again when we get down the road to our division by division breakdown. 4th easiest schedule is the Tennessee Titans. I think that's good for Cam Ward. He's going to see some easier competition, except for when he has to see Houston twice a year. That's going to be a problem, especially that defense.
Yep.
We're going to find out what Cam Ward is made out of when that Houston defense comes to town, or when he has to come to Houston. And then finally, the fifth hardest schedule is the fifth easiest, schedule is the Carolina Panthers.
That's interesting.
Makes sense.
That's interesting because, Bryce Young needs to show, continued improvement. Like, yeah, he got better in the second half of the season when he came back to being a starter.
Mm-hmm.
But that's got to continue now. You know what I'm saying? You can't rest on your laurels. So we'll see what happens with that. That's going to be interesting.
Well, he has Teteroy McMillan. He got another target to throw at. So,
and country boy Xavier Legette, that boy more country than anybody in the world.
No country than me. I'm telling you right now. Anytime I look at you and go, boy, you country. That you country for real.
That boy, you ever heard him talk?
Yes, I have. He sounds like some of my relatives from East Texas. I'm not even playing. He's a little bit more country than I am.
Man, shoot, that dude will show up to an NFL game with a deer in one hand and a raccoon in the other.
Hey man, it's a party now. Let me get my skinning knife. Yeah. But yeah, so the schedule release, we're not gonna go too in depth with the schedule release. You have any questions about what you think your team is gonna do? Which brings us into our next point as we get ready to close out the show for tonight. This coming Monday, we will not be on the air. This will be Memorial Day. We will not be broadcasting on Memorial Day. We are taking a break off. We have been, I know what I said. Some of y'all gonna try to check me on. Ain't no off days on Just a Fan Podcast. We not gonna be on the air. We still gonna be working.
I think this might be our first time doing this too.
Yes. So we're not gonna be on the air, but we still gonna be working. We still gonna be doing research, taking notes, all that stuff, football related stuff. So when we come back, we're gonna have something for you. But we will not be on next Monday, Memorial Day. Go ahead and enjoy your barbecue. Go ahead and visit the graves of the fallen soldiers who have sacrificed in this country and honor them. So yes, Memorial Day we will not be on. Now, moving forward, when we come back
on June 2nd.
Go ahead.
So June 2nd, when we come back, two things. One, June 1st is usually another day when teams can make more cuts. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be talking about those, but also it will also be viewers' choice. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments that you want us to talk about, get your questions ready now. Today's over, so you got 13 days. 13 days to come up with questions and comments and stuff that we can talk about for the viewers' choice. That's in 2 weeks. We haven't done viewers' choice all season because we've been having a ton of topics to talk about. So come with questions, comments, anything on June 2nd.
And we'll fill those questions. Now, look, don't come on here asking nothing crazy. It's NFL related.
Do not ask.
Yeah.
Should Brock Purdy sit down? Do not ask if Jalen Hurts should be traded. Do not ask if Jaden Daniels should retire. Don't ask some kind of questions.
Let's come with some intelligent questions, and we will improvisationally answer your questions based on the knowledge that we have compiled. That's what the Viewers' Choice show is, and that will be June 2nd. After June 2nd, we will begin our 8-week breakdown.
Wait. If anybody says Eli Apple should go to the Cowboys, I'm going to scream.
It's probably going to be Eric that's going to say that. But we will do our 8-week breakdown after that week. We'll start 8 weeks leading up to the preseason where we'll be doing division by division breakdowns, team by team in each division. And we'll be talking about our predictions for the year. This is where you come in again. We still have several positions open for several different teams for each division. If you would like to be a guest on Just a Fan Podcast, discussing your team on the night we discuss your division, if that position is not filled, get with us. Find out if the position has been filled or not, because you could be a guest on the screen, be one of these squares on the screen right here, talking about your team. The goal is to have a representative for every team in the NFL on their particular division's night. So, for example, NFC South, we want a Saints fan. We already have a Saints fan already signed up, but we also need an Atlanta fan. We need a Carolina fan, and we need a Tampa Bay fan. So, if you're interested in doing that, let us know. So on and so forth. And NFC East, we need a Cowboy fan. We need an Eagles fan. We need a Giants fan, and then we also need a
Commanders fan.
Commanders fan. I know that we're fans, but we try to put it off on the fans because the name of our podcast is Just a Fan. So we want you to be involved. So if you're interested in something like that and broadcasting with us one night when we cover your team, let us know. You can inbox us on our Facebook page. You can inbox us on not X. Yes, you can inbox us on X. You can inbox us also on our Instagram page. So that's Just a Fan Podcast. Hey, I'm a such and such fan. I'd like to be on your show. That's all you gotta do. And we'll take it from there. So with that in mind, I think that's our show for tonight.
All right, so let me close it out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you for joining us for another week of Just a Fan Podcast. We are currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, so you can find us every week except Memorial Day Monday on being live on here. Okay, it's gonna feel weird for me not setting up the show. Lord have mercy.
I'm gonna do some ribs.
You gonna do some who?
I'm gonna do some ribs.
I know that's right. And you can follow us on those pages that Eric just mentioned, IG, Facebook, and Twitter, but you can also follow us on TikTok as well. Okay? Coach Williams, the NFL Encyclopedia. Like I said, June 1st cuts are coming, and get ready for roster battles because I know almost every team has some kind of roster battle going on. That direction. Panel 316, the good guy with the black hat, he told you haters going to hate. And, that's on you if you want to be biased or if you want to be unbiased.
Stop hating on Brock Purdy.
But anyway, good night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Peace out. Eli Apple to the Eagle.